Hi guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. And being positive means not just, happy-go-lucky all the time, but it also means to improve our trucking community. That means pointing out the wrongs, pointing out where we can do better. That includes experienced drivers, trainers, and newbies. And there is a prime Inc. student who was watching his wife naked in the shower on FaceTime, then disrespected and criticized his trainer over it. So he wrote on truckingtruth.com, I was talking to my wife while I thought my trainer was asleep. It was 3 hours after he said he was going to sleep. My wife asked if I wanted her to bring the phone into the shower to FaceTime. And I said, sure, you can. But I won't be looking because I got to focus on the road. I said that out loud. And 5 minutes after I said that, this guy rips open the curtain as fast as possible. And he immediately looks at my phone. I quickly turned off the phone and said, what? He mumbled something about making sure that I was using the engine brake and watching out for rain. I was positive he was trying to perv on my wife through the phone. To me, this is unacceptable, especially since he met her as well. I was very pissed off that he did that. I pulled off to the next truck stop and told my wife what happened, and she understandably freaked out and said she wants me to find a new trainer that doesn't suck so much. And I agreed. So I'm going to post the link to Trucking Truth so you can read this whole thing yourself. And he brings this up at the very end. Earlier, he didn't like the way the guy communicated. He said he was sexist, he was racist, he's a 40-year-old white man, and he doesn't want to hear him, talk about women, and, and he goes on and on and on. It was just like he threw out every complaint out there. And, I'm not saying that none of that happened. It's quite possible, but I don't care what the guy did, okay? A student should not be FaceTiming anybody on the phone while he's driving. I didn't even allow my students to be on the phone. And I would get really upset when they were on the phone. And people don't realize how much of a distraction that is. Now, obviously, if you're watching your naked wife in the shower, okay, that's a distraction. And I don't know if you guys remember my friend Clayton that was in one of my videos. When I told him this story, he said, oh, lucky guy, what's wrong with that? I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm jealous. But, comment down below and let me know. Do you think it's okay? Would you let your students sit there and FaceTime? And I understand what the trainer was doing. The trainer didn't want to see his wife. The trainer wanted to make sure he wasn't going to die tonight. He wanted that guy off the phone. A lot of students come in and they're overconfident. And they have this just concept of, well, I can drive. I drive all over in my car. But it takes time. Your phone is a distraction. What if he had an argument with his wife on the phone and that distracted him and he was mentally upset? It takes skill to be able to detach from the moment and be able to, observe everything around you all the time. And that is a skill that you learn. But I one time was so upset because I had a student that was constantly on the phone, and my next student, I told her, don't get on that phone, not until I know that you are a safe driver, because I got to sleep and you got to drive. And I need to know you're not going to fly us off the side of a mountain or something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I just sounded like somebody else right there. But it takes a lot of trust in people that you don't even know. No, he probably didn't care about your wife. He was making sure that you weren't on the phone. And I did the same thing one time because I thought my student was on the phone. And when I got up, it was Maureen. If people remember Maureen, she's still at Prime Inc. and she's still driving as a company driver, and she's very happy. And, we touch base once in a while. And she was singing Green Acres. She was actually reading the street signs and singing it to the Green Acre theme song. I thought it was so amazing. And I said, holy crap, I'm actually going to be able to sleep while this woman is driving. And, that student on there said, oh, well, I thought he was asleep because 3 hours had passed. Let me tell you something. Trainers are not sleeping for the first 3 weeks to a month until they know that that driver is safe. And they know that the driver is going to say, hey, I have a problem. Can I ask you a question and wake me up? You know, you need to know that that person is going to have some sense in their head. And when that person is FaceTiming their naked wife and driving down the road, you kind of get the impression that, no, they don't have a freaking clue in their head. And they're going to kill somebody. And you know how I said kill instead of unalived? Because, oh well, guess what? All that crap is out the window too. You know, we got to go back to just being blunt with people and saying what we mean and what we feel and stop tiptoeing. So guess what? I have no sympathy for this student. And I really don't know if I believe anything else he said in that post is now suspect. It's suspect because he has no sense in his head if he thinks it's okay to watch his naked wife in the shower while he's driving an 80,000-pound killing machine. I mean, does anybody think that maybe this person should be fired? Does anybody think that maybe this person, should not be in control of the vehicle? Am I overreacting? Tell me if I'm overreacting. I got the impression that this person was younger because he made it a point to mention the trainer's age was 40 years old, which gave me the impression that this guy was younger. This student was younger. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it an age thing? Do you think the rest of us are just old fogies and we don't get it? So comment down below, and I hope to see you out here chucking along. Bye.